Everything's like half your weight.
We've done our fair share of hard and messy jobs. Today, we begin to tackle one of the hardest projects.
It's gonna take a lot of effort.
That has been hanging over our heads for far too long.
Well, that's one messy job, and that definitely didn't go as easy as I thought it would.
Welcome back to our channel. If you're new around here, we're Brittany and Drew, two hopeful adventurers who got married and after 8 years of van life, found our dream property and moved across the globe to Portugal, where we're now documenting the journey of transforming this historic watermill into our very first home, not on wheels. Now, let's take in a deep breath and let it out. Let the adventure begin.
Música!
Yo!
Yo!
Pintor. Eu pintor. La. Leonardo da Vinci. La.
Our master painter here is actually painting a bonding adhesive to help with the cracks that have formed in the concrete plaster throughout the house, especially in this room where we had a major leaking problem before our last section of the roof rebuild was finished.
They've already been touching up all in this room in the foyer here. And as I go upstairs, I saw some paint buckets earlier. Let's take a look. Whoa! Whoa! Muito bom, simpático. See. Doing all the final touches right around the edges up high. And everybody's got their groove right now, and things are happening. So one of the decisions we made for making this room look a little bit more luxurious is to put this baguette, this rounded kind of framing that will be applied to the spots that they're bringing down the white on the walls just a little bit, give the room a round feel at the top of it. They're even able to use this along that rounded part of the turret up there, which is gonna be a bit tricky. They're gonna have to cut sections, use a little bit of cement, concrete in there, and then they'll sand it all flush so you can't see any of the cracks or any of the split seams in it. I think it'll look really nice. They're gonna do this in both the bedrooms as well as the hallway here. Hey babe, you wanna say hi to everyone?
Hi everyone! I'm just washing some of our market finds from this past weekend. Isn't this pretty? Like beautiful glass bottle. I'm actually gonna put apple cider vinegar in it because it's something I use every day. Probably go through this much in a week or two. But look at these beautiful brass dolphin handles. Can you imagine these like in the bathroom? We love sticking with the water theme for the watermill, so how special is that? And you just like screw them in through the back so you don't see any part of the screw, just a beautiful
It's like this,
handle.
you just pull the handle and you push it back in.
How would you put them? I think right side up, no?
Yeah, I think so. Speaking of funny sounds, we found the coolest character ever.
Drew would not let us leave without our squirrel.
We needed a deck squirrel.
This little guy came from Germany. He was 15 euros. The lady would not back down. She's like, he is an antique. He is very, very old. As you can see, he has faded a little bit on the front side. The back side, he's still very tan. But the kitties have never met a squirrel before, and this will probably be the only squirrel they do ever meet. Because as you can see, according to this map, there are no squirrels in the region of Europe that we live in. You guys remember Andy trying to say the word squirrel? It's one of the funniest things.
Squirrel.
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 I can't say that. Squirrel.
But I think in all languages, squirrel is one of the most difficult words. In French, it's écureuil. Écureuil. Try to say that. Can you say that?
Squirrel?
You want to meet the squirrel? Yeah? Look. Come here. Is that a squirrel? You knew he was the best at playing catch. Ready? Get it. Good girl. Good girl.
Natural athlete right there.
She is. You're so good. You're such good players. We love our kitties. Well, all squirrels put aside. I love knowing that the guys are working on sealing the ceilings in there. They are putting like the crown molding. We weren't sure that that was happening or not, and so we saw that they were painting like the concrete plastered portions.
Like 2 inches down the walls
Yeah.
from the ceiling.
And I had asked ChatGPT, which is basically like an AI-based database where you can ask it questions and it will give you like the best possible summary.
You have to ask it the right questions.
Yeah. So I was like, we have river clay. If you guys remember, Drew and his parents like shoveled bucket by bucket out of the main bedroom. It was always intended to be used as like an adobe wash on the interior of the walls. We still hope to do that when we like paint and tint where all of the concrete plaster is, and we were very concerned that the plastic-based sealant paint would not allow that to adhere, and that's true. But luckily we found out that they will be putting like those crown molding pieces over top of that, like where it's bleeding, so it's okay.
It's not just adhering, it's allowing air to pass and permeate into the walls to allow moisture to escape
Yeah.
and not just get trapped in there. And that's
Yeah.
what I was explaining to those guys. They showed me the product they're using, and let's just hope that they don't let it run down the wall at all.
Yeah.
And leave like what looks like stains or just weird
Little
places
drippings,
where we're
yeah.
gonna have to roll over it with the breathable stuff.
Yeah, because we want our walls to breathe. But basically what I did learn is that we could sand it a little bit. So if it does bleed over a little bit, we can just sand it so that it still has that like sticky texture-ness.
But we're learning as we go and testing, experimenting, and hoping for the best.
We won't really know until we do it. So subscribe.
And like this squirrel.
Oh yeah, little squirrel. Écureuil.
Picasso. Italy. I really like the look. They finished the end cap of the side of the staircase here. Ooh. crew this morning. They're singing.
It's a little chilly, a little rainy today. I feel like a giant marshmallow in Drew's jacket.
Brittany loves wearing my jackets.
Yeah, I'm like, I should never order size small hoodies or jackets ever. You know, it's just so much cozier. But I'm very excited to go inside of the mill because I have not seen the progress that the guys have made with the crown molding in there. Oh, wow. They've actually been like covering a lot of the cracks in the walls. They've been putting like an adhesive over the cracks, which many of you will be happy to hear because that was what a lot of you suggested. So that makes me really happy to see. You see?
Yes, y'all. Looks like somebody was like lightly finger painting.
Yeah. Okay, let's go up. Oh, it's like a ceiling.
Wow.
Primario.
And even like the tiny little piece on the wall.
It feels like a real bedroom. Wow.
It's getting there.
They did a really great job. Cool. Wow. Something else that's one of those things that we're wondering how is this going to get done is the cleaning of the stone walls. And a few months ago when Drew's parents were here, his mom actually helped us experiment with like scrubbing in between the stones using a wire brush.
She was literally chiseling, and it's not easy. See this stone wall in here? It was this entire wall that she was working on.
Never have I ever walked the plank into the water mill. That'd be really cool if we turned it into a moat that connected down to the stream. Talk about fire safety. But right now, we're going to check on Mom and Dad, who have been putting a wire brush to some of the stone walls.
Let's go check out these walls.
I know, that's why I don't know.
Wow, he's excavating our old wall.
So, you know, do you kind of, for better terms, say a half-inch back? You know, try to get the stones.
Get it out of there.
You don't want to go too deep. There's that fine line of how deep.
Because
you go.
otherwise it creates too much texture
Yeah.
in the wall.
Like, see, I'm back to a rock right there.
It's a whole screwdriver. This is something you definitely don't do usually in America or in Florida especially, chiseling old walls.
Nope, never have we ever.
Wow, that was a good
See?
chunk.
See,
Yeah,
that's
look
what I
how
mean.
good that.
Wow.
I'm not hitting very hard. I'm really just tapping this.
Tell us about the excavation.
Well, you got one way is to go like this and take these off. You know, trying to chip off.
Well, that's the easiest way to do this.
But then there's all this other, like some of it, like Mom, when she was doing it, it got a loose point. That's just hand
We've
brushing.
tried it all.
We're trying different
Tried the
things.
wire brush.
Some falls apart, like here. I can see it just loosened some more around
It's
there.
like sand that's been packed in.
Yeah.
This is like cement.
I don't think they meant to just slap it right here because they didn't realize we were gonna clean up and make a line
Oh.
here. So that's just
They thought they were just.
yeah, because we later on identified, hey, we want you to make a box here around the electrical because of the tubes coming up. Here we want like a line with a frame.
What's your thoughts?
I want the old rocks for sure.
Yeah, me
Even
too.
like the schist or the granite. Ideally, in a perfect world, you'd repoint all
The
of
whole
this.
thing, yeah. We're back. I want to say the crown molding in the hallway has been done.
All the way through up to the foyer area.
And one area though that we are not going to be putting crown molding is in the old portion of the mill. But some serious work that's going to happen down here is that stone wall cleaning that we were talking about. I want to take a quick pit stop to this ruin. So there have been a few guys working extremely hard in here, cleaning off the stones. You can see they did such a beautiful job, but it looks like they've added maybe cal or cement in between the rocks.
Yeah, it really gives that traditional look that's so special about the rawness of the rock.
I love that this one here looks like an arrowhead.
We're gonna get to showing more of our walls inside the kitchen and that I've been working on, but let's go get a closer look at this one. And look, you can see their plumbing boxes, the water that goes to the, looks like the public sewer system.
Interesting, they built their own.
It's always really cool to reference other projects in our neighborhood and in our mountains. That way we can get a feel for how things were done in ours. Same with the chiseling of the walls. There's probably gonna be an electrical box here. They're gonna run wires, just like our place.
Preserving the stone walls, that is such a treasure. Not every house has that, you know?
Yeah, I feel so grateful that we get that. I'm just looking and observing the depth in which they went into the stones and then like smeared and worked and probably wire brushed all in between here.
Good to see actually like how deep they went in between. Makes it totally like a 3D experience. It's cool.
Isn't that cool? It's like dinosaur scales. And of course the new modern plaster walls as well.
It is a very rainy day out there. We have the heater going on inside of the camper. The problem with this heater is that it's huge and loud at 64 decibels. But thanks to Dreo, the sponsor of today's episode, and the top fan and heater brand in the US, we get to upgrade to one of the latest and greatest heaters, the WH517S wall-mounted heater. We are about to turn on our Dreo 2-second heater. It's like
Super quiet, super powerful.
wow.
Nice and warm. Turn on high setting.
It's already warm.
I know, like instant.
It has 3 heat settings and a fan-only mode that you can control on the easy touch buttons on the remote or on the smart app. And it even has an eco mode which controls the temperature precisely and helps you save 40% of the energy used. I also want to mention the super heavy-duty mount, and with the 4-step installation, it took us under like 3 minutes from start to finish to install. Let's test just how fast the 2-second instant heating really heats up a room. It's also extremely safe with 8 multi-layers of protection, including thermal insulated wiring, fireproof rating, overheating protection, and a child's lock. Whoa! I have to say, this heater is not only amazing for a small space because of how little it is, but also because of how quiet it is, how fast it heats up a space. I mean, pretty soon we're gonna be at 100 degrees here. But also, with this remote, you can shut off the light on the display. So when you're trying to sleep at night, you don't have to worry about any disturbance to your perfect sleeping situation. Ah, that's crazy. So to check out Dreo and their array of space heaters, be sure to click on our link in the video description below and use our code for extra discount. Look at this. Feels like we're living in a jungle. Hi, Tom. You guys happy? He's so cute. Drew's actually inside working on painting the stones right now.
All right, guys, it's been far too long. I've wanted to tackle the interior of the mill and get these old stone walls cleaned up because they are gonna look beautiful in here with the vision we have for them when they're done. We wanna get all the loose cragginess scraped out so we can seal it entirely. So that way we can really accent the framework that our guys did with the plaster here all the way around this big open room. So I've asked several people in Portugal how they've tackled this. A lot of them just said they used brushes to start and start really just kind of getting the crumbliness out. And then look at the chunks and all of that looseness. So I'm gonna take these brooms right here and I'm gonna get at it and just start ripping into that. Because if we just leave it there and seal it, it's just gonna come out over time and we're gonna have dust all over our kitchen. Our guys are really not into doing this project because they're more the rough, heavy lifting, cut tiles on the roof, do the plumbing, do the big projects. So this is more like that in-between maintenance, cleaning type of project. And I'm gonna spearhead it on my own because Brittany, as you guys know, her lungs are sensitive, she has asthma. So I'm just gonna go at it. I'm gonna wear a mask, put my glasses on. It ultimately should have been done right when we started the mill, but because the way just project happened, the roof on this area got replaced. a lot of the things were laying around in here. It just got put on the back burner, and today's the day. As you see right behind me here, some of the spots are not so easy to get to, so I'm gonna have to be up on a ladder when I get up here on the theater room, the stage, and just start scrubbing, scraping away. Same with our foyer area here when I go through the arch. I mean, these are really tall walls, but it's gonna look really beautiful to accent and keep all of this. Luckily, there's none to do in here. None to do in the master bedroom, just one section upstairs over here. I've got all my tools laid out here. I'm gonna try working with the brushes to begin with. I'm gonna then start chiseling a bit, maybe using some wire brushes, some brake pad brushes, and if need be, I'll get the grinder out with this heavy duty brush and use the drill with maybe some more abrasive kind of wire brushes. And then lastly, if I need to, I'm gonna put this Ceril chemical on it. It's used for cleaning all around Portugal. I've got safety equipment, I've got some paint brushes, and a spray bottle that I've been told by our good friends Dan and Angela, who've been renovating around here, that just start squirting it on to walls in an area you'd maybe wanna test. Let it sit for a while and then come back and wipe it off. They really recommended that method. So I'm gonna experiment, try a couple things, and we'll watch this transform together.
Here's another look at all of the areas of old stone that are going to need cleaned, including this, which we call the rock slide, where the water was channeled under the house to turn the old water mill wheel, and this area of stone up in the theater area. Luckily, I should be able to help with the pointing.
Whew. That's messy.
Not so fast.
Those are fogging up a little. Let's do this. Well, that's one messy job, and that definitely didn't go as easy as I thought it would. You can see all these huge chunks that were dropping out of the wall. I'm hoping to dislodge those because I don't want those to come falling out one day when we're here in our kitchen. I guess I'm just trying to decide how deep to actually go. When I'm using the wire brush, I also don't want to dislodge like some of these big chunks in here. There's even a hole up there that I could push the entire brush into. This is what the wall looks like with just a little bit of work to it. There's all this old mortar in here that's crumbly. I think there's a way of going about it and repointing and putting the plaster back in, but I'd rather just like seal it once it's cleaned. Since going to Egypt, it really makes me appreciate doing this project, all the work that they spent cleaning around those ancient ruins. I mean, this is definitely a piece of history around here, and we want to preserve it the best we can. It's going to take a lot of effort. This is actually going to be the spot where the refrigerator sits, so I know the fridge will go up to at least this section. I'm going to try using a bit of the harsh chemical in this area. I'm going to try to be very careful not to let it drip down the plaster here, and hope for the best, and that if I let it sit overnight, it'll just kind of erode some of this away, and this will be like my sample test area, because no one will ever see it. Only you guys who have watched this video and ourselves behind the scenes here will see if it actually came out good or if it is like this really gnarly looking weird spot back here. Shoot. Got it on the plaster.
Look at this beautiful rainbow this morning. Wow. Talk about a morning run. It's always worth it to get out there, even when it's raining in the morning. Just gotta put on those sneakers and go. So worth it. Amazing. Degrees. 442.
7 degrees? You must go under.
Winter mermaid. It's a different kind of experience.
Oh, there's a little kitty.
Okay, I'm gonna come out now. Got it.
Your lifeguard was attentive.
Yes, Vito. I'm okay. That
Ow.
was cold, but very worth it. That's the thing. Cold water. It's just another sensation. You don't have to label it as bad or good or whatever. It's just feeling alive. And it's especially nice to have a hot shower after. That is what makes it all possible. Bye, Minu. I love you. I'll be back real soon, okay? Such a sweet girl. All right, we gotta go. I have a plane to catch. I'm going back to Florida today. It has been far too long.
Andale.
Look at that mermaid up there. It's never easy leaving Drew and the kitties behind, but this is how it has to be. Drew's got to stay behind and take care of the homestead. Let me lock the gate here.
Sounds good. All right, my lovely. Love you.
Miss you.
Miss you too. Have a good trip.
I'll see you guys back before the end of this episode.
Got a lot to do in between now and then.
Got a lot of stones to clean.
Ciao. One more.
After catching my quick 45-minute flight from Faro on the south coast of Portugal to Lisbon, I had a nice long layover before boarding my 8-ish hour international flight to Miami, where I would be arriving that evening.
You guys notice that glow inside up there? That's Igor finishing the insulation at the top part of the block. That's what it looks like now with the spray foam. Nice and sealed from outside critters. The guys have been here the last days working really hard, doing final touches to a lot of different things. And right now, they've completed all the trim upstairs, all the first layer of primer, a second layer of primer, and they've left the stones for me to clean. You can see in this part of the room, they've moved all their gear over to the side of it, so that way I can just make a crazy mess. And this area, they're gonna come back on another day, and they're gonna finish this up and do another coat of primer in the future. They got other jobs to get to, so it leaves me with an empty house to get projects done.
This area in the lower bathroom was the next section of stone for Drew to tackle.
All right, great news guys. I just finished my first room. The walls are clean. It's a small one. It's our lower bathroom. Look at that.
He did such a great job. It wasn't easy scrubbing with the soft brushes, then the wire brushes, then the grinder, and more brushing. But without the old crusties on there, the beautiful blue-gray of the stones and the orange bricks really started to pop. Now let's fast forward to a moment after I've returned from Florida and we could observe what the stones in the kitchen looked like.
So here we are now at the section that I applied that harsh chemical to try to erode what was the old mortar. I feel like I'm a pretty good thickness in there. I don't know if I'm gonna continue using that or not. I've just felt like scrubbing was the trick overall, like to get it down in there. But
Did you rinse it?
I let it sit for 24 hours and it's actually been a week since I did that because I just had so many other things going on.
Hopefully it comes off.
But that was the test area because it sits hidden behind the refrigerator.
Yeah. But again, we're gonna have to like pressure wash.
I don't think we're gonna bring water in here. Like that's one of the big dilemmas I'm having with cleaning these walls is I would love to just be like with water in here.
How do you rinse that off then?
I don't think there's a way to. It's just, I was told people just like wipe it off or you could squirt water on here, but to have a hose and have it just so soaking and soppy in here.
But that's gotta come off. It looks bad.
Well, more scrubbing.
Oh. Okay.
You can tell we're clearly new at this, guys. Stay tuned to find out what happens to our walls.
The infamous cleaning of the stones will definitely need to be continued. But until then, and before I return from Florida, Drew's got a few other things to take care of.
Hey, Pee-Pee. You happy? You happy in the box? He's actually licking Minu's ears. And look, there's Tom. Tom, you happy? You happy in the box? With Brittany out of town, one of the things I really struggle with is what do I feed myself? She always takes care of all of our pantry items, our fridge stuff, especially when we live in such a tiny space such as this van. But today I'm gonna have to fend for myself and I think it calls for a hearty egg sandwich. Fudge. Our sweet neighbors gave it to us. There's not much countertop room in here, and I didn't want to put it where I'm going to eat because that box gets hot. Space is at a premium. So we're just going to let the toast do its thing down here. And let me show you, Nelson brought over some pastries. Pastel de nata and torta laranja with a little Azores butter for the bread. Which, speaking of the toaster, yeah, it's getting a little warm. Not detrimental to anything though. We're waiting. And there's our toast. Don't burn any fingers! Oh, I don't have a plate. I don't have a plate. Perfecto. This is an egg manwich. Perfecto. Look at that beautiful sandwich. I think Brittany'd be proud.
Listen to that crunch. Well done, babes.
So good.
We'll see you back here for more adventures and transformation real soon. We love you guys. Atija.